All right, I apologize for the sound that you're hearing now. It's not the printer. My neighbor decided to mow the lawn. I don't know why. Hey, welcome back to the First Layer. My name's Richard. This is Ask for Help, and the doctor is in today because I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to be answering your questions today live about 3D printing. We're going to talk a little bit about this guy, where we're at. We're going to talk a little bit about this guy. We're going to talk about a new tool that I have. Well, so lots to talk about today, but I am going to be taking your questions. First and foremost, let's go ahead and say hello to some people. Tim Postma is our first one in the house today. Dominic Versetto. Then we've got RT. We've got HVAC A to Z. That's Sergio. Non-fams here. Benny Brady. Who else we got? Did I miss anybody? No, not yet. All right. So, wow, we've got a small house today. Only a small house today. There's only 14 people on the stream and only 5 likes. What's going on? You guys got to hit that like button. Ah, never mind. Do what you want. If you want to hit it, hit it. If you don't, you don't. It is what it is. All right. So it has been an exciting week here in the lab. Randy Deserrano has, hello, sir. There's shooter 59, not 69, 59, shooter 59. A lot of things have been happening here in the lab this week. We've had some ups and downs with our Voron this week. As we're getting it ready, we had a broken part that I had to repair. You can tell that I don't have the actual bed on it that I wanted to have on it. And I'll tell you why in just a second. Let me go to camera 3 and I'll show you what I mean. Right now I've got a Wham Bam Pex bed on here. I'm not using the bed that I got from KB3D at the moment. I had this bed, I wanted to try it out, and it really makes these puzzles that we're doing for the Maker Faire really, really cool. One of the other things that I did was I was able to, let's just zoom out, and I've got the lights in here now. So we've got lighting up at the top that shines down into the chamber, which is what we are after. And you can see my screen right now is blue. I can't touch it. It says there's no signal. There is a signal to it. It just goes into sleep mode after a little while. But I can't touch it because the touch just doesn't work. And I'll tell you why. Because I bought a left-handed angled cable so that it would fit into, let me just push this down a little bit so you can see. So it would fit into this area here. So right now it goes like this, but the port for the touch screen is right underneath it, and I don't have a left-hand angled USB cable. So I have to get one of those. Once I get one of those, then this touch screen will be working. Clipper screen does work, and it does do an excellent job, so I'm pretty excited about that. Who do we have here now? We have, I don't think we got anybody new up in there. Okay, there we go. That's pretty touchy, Richard. Yeah, it is. It is pretty touchy. But once I get that done, that'll be cool. The doors are on. They're sitting where they should be sitting. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm doing one of the burr puzzles right now. I'm doing a couple of larger ones so that people will have a chance to solve the burr puzzle at Maker Faire. And that's kind of why I got this little guy on the desk today. This is my Makey robot that I built last year after Maker Faire. This is one of 2 robots that I built. This is the one that can be programmed and then turned on. This has a rechargeable battery in it. It uses all very simple and off-the-shelf components. And I'll give you a little preview of what he looks like. He does a little dance and he does a little music. I know we're probably going to get demonetized for this, but it is what it is. He sings this little song and then he does a little dance. There we go. And then he starts over again. I haven't done a whole lot with him. I do got to make him move a little bit more. I'm going to have to recharge him before the show. But his eyes light up, his arms move, his legs move. He can walk, he can dance, do all kinds of great and cool things. I'm really excited about this guy. He's probably one of the favorite little projects that I did last year after Maker Faire, and I'm so excited about Maker Faire this year, I can't tell you. My good friend Ben Eady is going to be there, and he's going to be showing how you can take your hobby and turn it into a career. We're also going to see the Prussia team is going to be here. This weekend, just wrapping up today, I guess, is the Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Festival happening in Colorado. That seems to be going well. I've seen a couple of short live streams from there over the weekend. Looks like they've got a great bunch of people there, and there is some talk that we may, at some point, think about doing something in Canada along those lines. We're not sure yet, but the thought is there, and I would love to do a Rep Rat Festival. That would be a lot of fun. Bringing in companies from all over the US and Canada, as well as from around the world, to talk about the products they have for 3D printing and making, but more centered on 3D printing. So that would be fun. I think that would be a good thing to do. We can bring in people from all over the world to our humble little place here in the north at the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. And calling it the Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Festival wouldn't work because, well, we're at the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. So we might have to call it Foothills. Who knows what we would call it? We still haven't gotten that far. We're still talking about it. Another tool. Okay, this tool right here. Let's move Makey out of the way. This is a no clogger. Now, you're probably wondering, why did I go and spend so much money on this? It really wasn't that expensive. I bought two of them. I bought one for myself and I bought one for Tim. When you order them, you get the no clogger, which is a coated steel pointed tip. I'm going to go to camera 3 here, and I'll see if I can get that tip up in there so that you guys can see it. And probably not. It's probably going to be a little too dark. But there's a pointed tip on this thing, and it's fairly sharp. And this is designed to go down inside the nozzle of your hot end. So it goes in from the top down. So it would go in from the top down. And this is designed, because it's got almost like a chamfer, like a point at the end, this thing will push out all of that material in the nozzle. So there's nothing continually lodged in there. So it's a really cool little tool. It's got a 3D printed handle, which I'm totally stoked about. I like that idea. Comes with a razor blade. You can download a safety tip for this that you can 3D print yourself, or you can go ahead and buy one yourself. They're only about $2 if you wanted to add it to your order, but it's cheaper just to go out and print one because they've got the file for it. So why not just go ahead and print one? Ben says, I love my no clogger. It's handy as hell. I love the no clogger. Hey, there's Gary T. Welcome, Gary. Yeah, I really like this. I've used it once already, and it's already paid for itself using it once. And I would definitely get another one. They come in 3 different colors of handles. I'm really liking this tool. It really works well. So that goes into my arsenal of tools. Then we've got a bunch of little different blocks here. And these blocks are my raw test, my very first raw test of the printer when I first got it up and running. And I could see a lot of discrepancies in it, and I couldn't figure out why I was getting such nastiness on the side. And it wasn't like it was blobbing over or there was too much squish or anything. It's very kind of ripply, and it's got these little areas that don't look quite right. What I did do is I did end up doing a linear advance on here. I did pressure advance on here as well. Tightened up all the belts. I had to do that this week while I was trying to chase down a problem I was having with the bed. Why it wasn't keeping its level, and I found out why it wasn't, or why it was failing doing the quad gantry level, and it was because I had a broken part where the clicky probe sat, And it could be that I tightened it too much. It could be that it got too warm and it just cracked. I don't know. But I did go ahead and reprint that in Polymaker ABS, Polylite ABS, and it's holding up just fine. It's doing great. I printed it over on the Prusa and it's doing just fine. So I'm pretty happy about that. And this thing is working great now. I've set up a couple of different mesh bed levels for it. One for PLA, one for ABS. I'll be doing some other ones later on down the line. We are going to rebuild a Voron 350, a V2.4 350. We're going to rebuild it from the ground up, which means we're dumping all the skirts, we're dumping all the parts that we aren't going to use, and we're going to reprint everything in two specific colors, a royal kind of blue and a light blue. And that's all going to be done in Polymaker Polylite ABS. And that will go into the 350. And this one still needs two things before it's completely done. Good, there's John Bima. G'day, he says. I like Forrest Gump says, it happens. Yeah, it does happen. You know, things do happen on occasion. And I'm not surprised by that. And you know, John Bima, and I can't thank John enough for guiding me through some of the pitfalls that I've found and frustrations I've personally found using Clipper, because I'm not used to using Clipper. I'm used to using Marlin, and with every other printer I've ever done, it's been Marlin. Other than the one printer that I did build, and when I built that one, I'll be perfectly honest with you, when I built that first Voron of mine, I really did like it, but I didn't get a big chance to work on it before I had to let it go. So I'm very happy now that I have a machine that I can use and that I can experiment with and I can play with. And I'm learning a lot more about mainsail, its front end. I'm learning a lot more about how Clipper works and how things can be a little bit different. Some of the things that we did in this machine, or that I did in this machine, that are a little different from a regular build. First and foremost, I did put a temperature sensor in. There is a 10K temperature sensor up in the upper left corner of the chamber. And it is now reading correctly, again, thanks to John Bima. He helped me figure out that, and he wrote me a little bit of code for it, and we slipped it into the printer config, and it works great. Now, the lights that I put in are RGB pixel lights, so they're addressable NeoPixel lights, so I have not set up any of the addressable part of it yet. It is, I will get to that, where it changes colors, like when it's warming up, it'll be red. When it's ready to print, it'll turn green. When it's printing, it'll be white. When it's done, it'll go blue, or there might be a party mode on it. I don't know, I haven't decided yet, but there will be some changes in those lights. I do have to replace the stealth burner lighting. I think I burnt it out, and that was just my own stupidity. Again, not knowing a lot about how this was done originally, or not knowing how to do this completely, and kind of, you know, wading through the waters and learning, as we all do when we get into this hobby. And that's really a big part of it, is when you take on new challenges like this, you are going to learn new stuff. And that's what I'm learning with Clipper, and it is a little bit different. The syntax is a little bit different. Ben Brady says, Richard is now an official Clipper head. I wouldn't say I'm a Clipper head. Hey, Marcel, welcome. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a Clipper head, but I can tell you I am enjoying Clipper a whole lot more than I did when I first started playing around with it. And I see the benefits of Clipper over Marlin. I will at some point take my printers and convert them all over to Clipper. I don't know if I'll do the Prusa over to clipper, but Sergio says we all learn from mistakes. That's HVAC A to Z. Yeah, we do all learn from mistakes. And the one thing, and I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me that I've built Vorons. I don't find the clipper Discord to be very helpful. When I go looking for help, usually, and most people know that I've already tried to look it up myself. And if I don't understand it, then I usually go for help. The one thing that I have found most often, that the default answer to everybody or anybody that has answered any of my questions, and not all of my questions have been answered, but anybody that has answered has always thrown me back to the Voron and clipper documentation. Well, I don't usually go out and ask questions unless I've been there first. And sometimes I find it very frustrating when people can't, give you that answer, and they just send you off somewhere else. To me, I call that passing the buck, and it frustrates me. And I've stopped, for the most part, going there. I'll ask people that I know that have built these now, and that are part of kind of the inner circle. I did have to redesign the hinges on these a little bit because I'm using a little bit thicker VHB tape. The ones that you print for the printer don't quite fit the acrylic that I'm using. I'm using a true 3mm acrylic for my doors and my sides, and yeah, it's a little thick, so my hinges were bulging out, pardon me. They were bulging out, and the tape was just giving way because there was always constant stress on it. Now I've fixed that issue. Now my doors are sitting great, and I'm not having any problems with them. Let's see what we got going on. Hey, there's Shadell 3D. Welcome, sir. Welcome. John Byman says, I don't think Rich has drank the Clipper Kool-Aid yet. You're right, I haven't drank it completely, but I will. I think I'm going to convert my Ender 5 to Core XY and use 0G Mercury 1 mod. That's actually a really nice mod. I've been looking at that one myself, Ben. Sergio says, just don't repeat the mistake. I'm going to do my best to try not to do that. Ben says the Voron documentation sucks. I don't know that the Voron documentation sucks. I think that I think they've done a good job with the documentation. I think they've done a good job with the build manual. But there is so much out there. When you build a Voron, you're not building a Voron. You're building your Voron. So you're going to have things that are a little bit different than maybe somebody else. Like in my case, I've got a 7-inch touchscreen on the front. I've got the Manta M8P board, which doesn't have a lot of documentation on it concerning the Voron just now. So at the end of the day, I think that the documentation is good. It is a little confusing maybe to somebody who is a little bit newer to building something as complex as this Core XY system and using something like Clipper. I think that I think the Clipper documentation is good as well. It's just, again, can be a little bit hard to understand, especially if you're not used to it. So, and that's, I think, the biggest part of my frustration was not understanding what I was doing. But now I have a much better idea, thanks to people like John Bima, Build It Basement, Kermit over at Build It Basement, Tim from DeWitt 3D. All these guys have kind of steered me back into the right road, and I'm real happy about that. John Bima says, when they throw you back to the docks, most of the time it is because they don't understand it themselves. They're just armchair quote experts. So that could be. That could be. That could be. Hey, there's Duff. Hello, Duff. Welcome, sir. John Bima says, I don't think Voron docks suck. Most people don't build a true Voron. They build a kit. The company that made the kit should make their own docks for their own kits. To some degree, I would agree with that. Hey, there's Matt German. Welcome, sir. Marcel says, just get the Ender 2v2 Neo. Do I have to install a bimetal upgrade? I don't think you do. It depends on what you're going to print. Duff says, Clipper is always a pain at first, but once you figure it out, it's not bad at all. And I will agree with you on that, Duff. Absolutely. I think that you're absolutely right about that. The Poor Boy channel. Hey, there's my good friend Jeff. What did I miss? He says, well, we've been talking a little bit about what I've done on my Voron here. We talked a little bit about Makey, my robot, one of two. And we talked about my no clogger, which I got in the mail. And I did pay for this, by the way. This was not a freebie. Nobody sent this to me. I did pay for this. So it was very cool. I'm very happy about that. Tim Postman has a question. He says, did you hear about the new Lulzbot Taz Prolong? I have not yet. I'm sure they will be in touch with me to see if I would like to have a look at it when it comes out. Shadell, he's just saying hi to everybody. And Duffy says, I found the Voron docks to be not bad for my first build. I thought the Voron docks were pretty good. They've come a long way since I did my original build. So I can't complain too much about them. Again, a lot of this has to do with learning. And I will tell you, I made a very, very stupid mistake yesterday when I put this PEC sheet on here. I went to start a print and did not think about taking the film off the top of the PEC sheet and wondering why was nothing sticking to the bed, or why did it look like things were going haywire and it was like digging in, and it shouldn't have been. And then I realized that I forgot to take off that plastic film that's on the top of the PEC sheet. So, you know, when it comes to making mistakes, I make mistakes as well. Hey, listen, if you're new here, I want to remind you to, do that. And we do have a Discord for anybody that is interested in joining our Discord. I'm usually over there every day for a little while. Sometimes I'm in the chats, the live audio and video chats, so you can go over there and check that out. Did you scuff your PEC sheet as well? Yes, I did scuff my PEC sheet. Dominic says, I installed the Copperhead bimetal heat break on my stock Ender hot end, and it works great. That's excellent. I'm glad to hear that. I'm absolutely glad to hear that. That's very cool. I think we've got a small house today. We got to get those likes up, though. We've got 20 people watching and only 10 likes. We got to get those likes up. How else would you keep that sheet looking like new? How else would I keep that sheet looking like new? Well, by not keeping that plastic film on the top, for one. You want to, I did find that with this PEC sheet, after every print, it is very important that you clean it with IPA. You really need to clean it with IPA. And it does work very well. I haven't put down any glue stick on this PEC sheet. I haven't put down any of the other adhesive that I use from time to time. So I think that at the end of the day, this PEC sheet works great. I will use it for certain things. I will use the textured bed for other things. But the PEC sheet seems to be working really well. It gives a nice sheen to the bottom of the parts, which is very cool. Poor Boy says, I thought I was the only one who did that. I never told anyone, LOL. No, you're not the only one who did that. You know, the weird thing was, here's the absolute dumb butt thing that I did, was when I put this PEC sheet on here, I knew that there was a plastic film, but I had set it aside. I didn't put it on the machine right away. And I just set it aside, and I thought, well, I'll just keep this on until I'm ready to use it. And I forgot that it was totally on there. It just dumb of me to do that. And always take that plastic film off before you start printing. Hey, there's 3DHP. My good friend Jerry says, hello, Richard and everyone. I'm glad that you're here, Jerry. Thank you for joining us. But right now, I've got the doors closed. I probably shouldn't have the doors closed, but I do. And if I look over at the control panel, I can tell you right now, inside the chamber, it's about 44 degrees. And my bed is at 55 and my nozzle is at 215. So it's looking like it's going to do a great job, even with the doors closed. I know with PLA, and that's what I'm printing here. I'm printing the two color silk PLA from Polymaker. This is their bicolor, I guess. And it looks really cool. This is the gold and magenta. I really like this color. It's probably one of my favorite looking filaments so far from any filament I've ever used. Dominic Rossetto says, I haven't seen activity in the Discord in months. Am I doing something wrong? We're there every day, Dominic. I'm over in our Discord every day. You might be in the wrong Discord. When it comes back around, or just scroll back up to where it has the stream elements, there you'll find the Discord, the new Discord link. You might be in the old one, Dominic, and that old one just does not work anymore. Nobody is there. John Byman says, keep the door closed, remove the top. I could do that. I'm just going to leave it open for now. I'm just going to leave it closed for now. It is what it is. But yeah, I'm super stoked about this. It is this thing is working great. I do have a little bit of tuning yet to do on it. If I'm going to beat the P1P at Maker Faire, or if I'm going to have a good chance at meeting or beating the P1P at Maker Faire. For those of you that don't know, Tim and I are co-oping our booths. So we've got, we're going to have one large 10-foot by 20-foot booth, split for the two of us. And we'll be throwing shade on each other all weekend and, celebrating each other's wins and things like that. We've been kind of working together to give away prizes. We're going to be giving away a bunch of these burr puzzles to people. There, the Discord just came up again. There's a link to the Discord. A couple of things I still have to do. I still have to get the exhaust fan on the back hooked up, and I have to get the filament runout switch hooked up on the back of this. Those are the only two things I really have to do. And then I can button up the bottom and call it a day, and I don't care about what's going on in the bottom. While this touchscreen does work, it doesn't work as a touchscreen currently, and it does shut itself off. It goes into its own little sleep mode where it says no signal. But that's okay. I mean, it's fine. I'm sure I can change that so that it constantly is getting a signal from the board. And once I do that, then I may just leave it so that little fingers can't get in and play with the buttons if something's printing during the show, because that would be a bit of a disaster. I'll be bringing some Polymaker filament with me to the show to print out stuff while I'm there. We're going to probably start a print on load-in when we do load-in on Friday night, and then we are going to let that print go for the majority of the weekend so people can see what's going on. I was thinking about doing little prints, but I think I'm going to do a larger print. John Byman is going to be joining us. John, if you're in the chat still, maybe you can tell people what you're going to be bringing and showing off inside the first layer booth. That would be cool. If you guys got any questions about 3D printing, I'm here to answer your questions. Otherwise, you're just going to listen to me yammer on for another half hour. I am going to bring the Prusa. I'm going to bring this machine. We're going to put the dedication plaque on this machine as well. That will be going on as a part of the final piece, and that'll go on at Maker Faire. We're going to do a nice dedication plaque that will be going up in this area here. I've got a Voron sticker that's got to go up in here. And then this build will be complete. Once it gets back here, it will be going into service, just printing out Voron parts. And somebody gave me a great suggestion about that, and I'm going to talk about that today as well. Hey, there's Gary T. Welcome, Gary. Let's see what Tim has to say. Tim Postman says something new about the Taz Long is it is 2 feet long build. Wow, I didn't know that. I did not know that. Gary T says, any suggestions on a printer to print exotic filaments like Peak? A higher end Voron will print Peak. You're probably going to need something that's water cooled, Gary. Something that's fully enclosed, has temperature control, or chamber temperature control. You're going to have to have a hot end that gets pretty hot. I think you're going to be printing over 300 degrees in the case of Peak. And I think you might want to do water cooling. So just so that, like cooling, just for cooling the heater block, or the block on the hot end. So, or the heatsink on the hot end. So that might be something to consider. The poor boy channel says, Dominic Versetto, if you step into the lounge, make sure you clean up before you leave. Sorry, it's all the liquor is gone. Richard and I drank it last night. Yeah, we had a good talk last night. Any suggestions on it? Okay, I did that one. Ben Brady says, Polymaker has some cool new colors for ABS and ASA. Check out their POP colors. Yes, I'll agree with that. We're waiting to see them in Canada. Once they are available in Canada, I will be getting some of those colors in here. John Byman says, we'll be unveiling the Raptor Plus, a high-end Ender 5 Plus Core XY conversion kit. There you go. That's what he's going to be doing. So he's going to be doing that in our booth. We're honored to have him and show off that printer. Jess Corniching, for some of you guys that have been around for a long time, you'll remember Jess. She's going to be making her return to help us out at the Maker Fair. She's going to be in our booth talking about 3D printing. She's going to be unveiling her Latch Buddy that her and her father had designed. And this is a really cool item that they are putting into production right now. They're 3D printing them. At some point in time, I believe they want to get them injection molded. But for now, they're 3D printing them, and we're going to probably help them out. Once we get the other printer finished, we're going to help them out and print some in nylon for them, maybe some in copolyester, and we'll see what happens. Snapshot FPV, he says, hello, hope all is well. Everything is going amazing. For the Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Fest, have a designated driver, especially if you're going to be distracted while singing seriously through Do Not Drink and Drive. Yeah, don't drink and drive. That's true. Poor Boy Channel, what's a good guide to follow for getting the 80XL set up and working for my printer? Getting the 80XL set up, I haven't found a real good guide. I kind of pieced the information together, Jeff. So I went and I looked at what the pinouts were. Now I know that you're using a Manta board as well. And if you look at the Manta board, there should be an 80XL or accelerometer port on there. All you got to do is make sure that the wiring is done correctly and you will have no problem. Just make yourself a cable like I did here. I'll move these out of the way and let's go to camera one. So on my cable, this end here, because here's the mistake I made the first time. Make sure that you are using the 3 volt section or the 3 volts, 3.3 volts, not the 5 volts. I blew up one of my ADXLs using the 5 volts. I literally fried it. So all I did was I made a connector here that has my negative wire, my positive wire, and then it has all of my other data lines, my 4 data lines. And then on the other end, we have our negative, our positive, and then our 4 data lines in the correct pin locations that they recommend through the Voron manual, or pardon me, not the Voron manual, the manual for the Manta. Okay, so you're gonna have to look at the manual for the Manta. If you have a problem, reach out to me, because I did do this and I'm happy to help you out and walk you through what I did to make this cable. Now that I've got this cable, I can put it on any board that has a Manta on it. So that's set up now. It's all ready to go. Pody, he says, help, I have too many printers. Can't help you with that problem, man. Sorry. I'm using the Octopus Pro, he says. Poor boy says, I do have the Pi 4 on for my CB1, Pi 4B. Yeah, you can actually connect it directly to the Pi. There is documentation out there for setting it up directly to a Pi, and I believe it is in the Clipper docs. So you'll have to look up the Clipper docs. Tim Post was asking, when you were a kid, did you go to the woods and play cops and robbers with the raccoons? No, I didn't go and play with the raccoons. I had too many, well, I shouldn't say I had too many friends. I had a handful of friends. So I did not, I didn't go and play cops and robbers with the raccoons. But I also didn't play too many cops and robbers. Because of where I grew up, there's just way too much to do. Like you could go out to the woods and you could build a fort. You could, you know, we built forts like tree forts, and we built, we went fishing a lot in the summertime, and in the wintertime, well, some of my friends played hockey. I didn't play hockey. I wasn't a sports guy. Some of my friends were into curling. Some of my friends were, you know, we had a lot of winter sports. In the winter, I typically started to draw, or I did something else along those lines. But yeah, it's 1990s style. Yeah, the 1990s is I was an adult by the time the 90s rolled around. Vision Miner makes a machine called the Z2 IDEX. It will do peak properly, John says. Okay. I haven't looked at Vision Miner very much. I've looked at their videos a little bit, but not a ton. They're kind of, to me, they're not as what's the word? I'm not going to say information friendly. They are very information friendly. I'm just going to say that they're in a different league than what we try and cover on this show. They have some great information, especially if you're in the expert range of being a 3D printing enthusiast. Now I'm in a second childhood. No, I'm in my third childhood. Or, you know what? I never got out of my childhood. I mean, I'm still playing with robots. I'm playing with all kinds of other toys. Now I've got printer toys. We've got some big projects coming. I've got some lightweight PLA. We're going to be making some plane parts on this thing in the winter. Got some big things coming. I want to do a lot more projects after Maker Faire. I got a couple things that I want to finish up. I want to get my gimbal finished up, or my mini jib finished up for the camera. So that's something I want to get done. This is going to be coming off the bench here probably the next day or two. I'll put the bottom on and I'll stick it over by my desk, my day-to-day desk, so I can monitor it as I'm doing stuff on it for now. But yeah, other than that, this is going to be not on the table next week. There's no more weekly or bi-weekly live streams in the evening. Now that I'm in the last 3 weeks before Maker Faire, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff. You probably see a lot more shorts coming out from the channel. Hey, there's Nuno. Welcome, Nuno. So you're going to see a lot more shorts coming out, mainly around this as we print new things. I'm going to install the Creality eFit extruder on my Ender 3 later this afternoon. Very cool. Very cool. I'm interested to see that. I've got the extruder and blower set up here for the Hero Me Generation 7 that I I have to do. I've got one that's already set up that I'm going to be taking to the show to show off. John Bima is one of the reps for selling it in Canada for the Pro version. We have in a box here, we have both the Pro version and the downloadable version. John was kind enough to print all those parts for me. So I'm going to be showing that. We're going to put that on the Ender 3 after the show. So we'll be showing you that. What else do I want to cover coming up? I want to do more project stuff. If you guys want to see more project stuff, you want to see me dive into Clipper a little bit more as I learn it, I'm happy to do that. Just let me know what you guys want to see. Put it in the comments after the stream is over. And I'm always happy to go back and read the comments. Gary is going to be at the show. I believe, Gary, you're a volunteer over at Maker Faire again this year. And I can't wait to be working with you again. What printer are you going to put the Hero Me on? As I just said, I'm going to be putting it on my Ender 3 Pro. I'm going to throw it on there and just, because I've got an E3D V6 in it right now, so all I got to do is put the thermistor in it, call it a day. I think that's the only thing I have left to put into that machine. And then that one can be wired into that machine. That machine, I had a look at the electronics bay about a month ago, and it has a Big Tree Tech board in it. It has the E3 Mini. So I may upgrade the board as well to some of the more current standard ones. And then after that, I'm cleaning house on printers. I'm going to be probably letting go of a couple of my printers. My Big Tree, or not my Big Tree, but my Bluer Plus. 2 Trees Bluer Plus, probably be getting rid of, and then some of the other miscellaneous manufacturing printers that I have here I'm going to get rid of. I will keep both of my resin printers, and then I will have this one, the 350 Voron. I will be letting go of the Lulzbot. That'll be going back to Lulzbot. Not a Voron purge. Sorry, Dunes 591. Sorry. No, my Vorons are all going to stay. I'm just trying to pare things down in my lab a little bit. My wife and I are looking at downsizing our home over the next year, and we are staying here for another year. So our lease comes up at the beginning of June. So we've signed a new lease for another year. So we are going to be probably moving into something a little bit smaller. We're going to be essentially going from a house to an apartment. So there's going to be, some changes that have to be made, and I can't have as many printers as I would really like to. So, because they will be going into the spare bedroom, which is probably where I'll be putting my my office and studio, which won't be as big as this room. So things will get way more condensed, unless I find a space where I can co-op with somebody else and then be able to utilize that space. So that's something to consider as well. At the first level, I don't know who the first level is, John. Please talk to me about the E3 Mini. The E3 Mini that is in the Ender, that's an older board. It's probably one of their second gen boards that they came out with. It was a replacement for the 8-bit board that was in the original Ender 3s. It fits into the Ender 3 Pro, and it basically, I believe that one has the steppers built into it. Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. If you want to see one, John, I think I've got a couple more kicking around here. I'll bring one to the show for you, or we can talk after the show over on Discord and I can show you one. What city are you moving to? I'm not moving to another city. I'm going to stay in Calgary, but we are going to just downsize and probably go to an apartment. I know we still use them in the V0 0.1 and 0.2. Oh, you do? Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Very cool. The E3 Mini version 0 and version 1 had a lot of issues. I didn't find that. I would like it and willing to trade for it. John, I probably have 2 or 3 of them kicking around here. So might be something that we can talk about. Absolutely. If you're getting an apartment, get an extra bedroom for the 3D printers. Yes, we'll be going to a 2-bedroom. My wife and I were just thinking about downsizing. My wife had her first full week at her job this past week, her new job, and it went really well. She was left alone on Friday, all by herself. And she found it a little bit challenging. She did make it through, and it didn't drive her insane. So she will be back to work on Monday, and I'm really happy and I'm really proud of her. I couldn't say anything bad about it. I mean, she's a trooper at our age. When trying to get a job at our age, when you're almost 60, can be a bit of a problem. So let's see if we can get those likes to come up a little bit more, guys. I see that we've got 30 viewers right now. If you haven't hit that like button, please, by all means, please do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps get this show in front of other people. It really helps with our metrics as well. No adult supervision. No, there's never any adult supervision. I supervise myself. But when it comes, we're going to be doing a lot more with filaments as well. We've got some more filaments that will be coming in from filaments.ca. We're going to be testing. I'm going to be doing some testing on this machine with some of the filaments I already have from filaments.ca. I'm going to be testing their new ABS Plus in the coming months, as well as I will be running through a bunch of other materials. On the 350 that we're going to do a rebuild on, we're going to put that Fadus high flow hot end in there, and we'll be able to do some very, very cool things with that. Gray power. Yeah, I agree with you, Randy. I agree with you. Don't try it at 66 years old, Richard. Well, I'm not 66 quite yet. So how's the filament shortage working out? Gary, the filament shortage is getting better. I did hear on Friday that we got in a bunch of brand new material. So they were going into heavy production here starting this week. So within the month to 2 months, you're going to see a lot more things on the filaments.ca website, which I'm excited about. And there's brand new stuff that we'll be looking at. I'll be looking at some filament from a local filament manufacturer here in Alberta very soon. We're going to try some of his stuff. We'll put it through the Voron. We'll put it through the CR10. We'll put it through the Prusa as well. The Prusa I'm going to take out of that enclosure. I know that I built that enclosure, but it was out of necessity because I was going to have to start printing parts for this machine. Fortunately enough, Tim came to my rescue and printed a bunch of the parts for me. I just don't think it prints ABS all that well, even in that little enclosure. So I think at the end of the day, I'm going to pull it out of that enclosure. I'm going to put it back to the way it was stock by putting the power supply back to where it's supposed to be and things like that. And then I will use it just like it was meant to be used. I have to do that actually in the next couple of weeks because I'm going to be taking it to Maker Faire. As you can see right here, I'm missing a decal. That one there is reserved for my friend Tim Acoin, who runs, of course, DeWitt 3D Canada, and he's not here today. I don't know what's up to with him. He was supposed to do a stream last night, and he never did, so I don't know what's going on there. Something might have come up. The E3D mini boards had bad thermistor circuits. They didn't get it ironed out until version 2 and higher. Oh, I wasn't aware of that. Tim Postma says, did you try and print your Mind 3D there from Calgary and you get a Lulzbot and Ultimaker? I'm trying to get an Ultimaker in here, but I don't know, it's an expensive machine and I don't quite fit their criteria yet for as a influencer. But I do fit the criteria for other companies, so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I really do like the way that this thing is printing, though. It's beautifully smooth. Like I said, it's printing silk right now, the 2-color silk and the gold and magenta. And when this puzzle's done, I'm going to print another batch of 6. I'm actually going to change it out for the gold and silver, and we're going to print a bunch more of these burr puzzles in a smaller setup. So it'll be a lot of fun. I'm so looking forward to playing with this thing a whole lot more. Next week, there's going to be no Wednesday pre-recorded show. Like I said, you're probably going to see a series of shorts from me moving forward over the next few weeks. I will be going live from Maker Faire both Saturday and Sunday, May 13th and 14th. So make sure that you check in on us when we go live and keep checking. Make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that you have notifications turned on so you know when we're going to post those. We're going to be talking, hopefully we're going to get a chance to talk to a lot of people there at the show, get to run around. If I don't get a chance to run around, the lovely Jess Corniching is going to go live, and that will be nice. Friendship Lights looks great, but very shaky frame. Actually, it's not the frame that's shaky. It's the Lazy Susan that it's on that's shaky. Sorry about that, but it is the Lazy Susan. So, but as soon as I take it off this Lazy Susan, it's going to be rock solid. So I'm not too worried about it. Like I said, I'll probably be sending the Lulzbot Taz Sidekick 747 back to Lulzbot, because the agreement was that when I was done using it, that I send it back to them. They will refurbish it, and I don't know what they do with them. They just send them out to other makers. Who knows? I have enjoyed using it, but I just don't see a big need to have it in the studio anymore. When I'm going to have 2 Vorons and the Prusa and Creality CR10, I can do all my testing on all 3 of those machines. Direct drive, and I probably should have one machine that is a Bowden setup, but everything I have right now looks like it's direct drive. So, Tim Postma, when will live streams be back? Every Sunday at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Tim. Every Sunday at 2 p.m. That's not going to change. Y'all stop picking on Susan. She's not that lazy. Yeah, that's cool. I'm looking forward to Maker Faire this year. I'm looking forward to exploring some other opportunities moving forward as well. Something that like I said, we've been talking about doing a couple of things here in Calgary or in Edmonton, or something that's centered around our hobby. There might be some new education opportunities. I don't know yet. We're just still exploring that. I will be doing some work in the future. It's in negotiation right now with one of the local maker spaces here in Calgary. I will be doing a little bit of work with them, and maybe doing some seminars over there, maybe doing some teaching, and work that way. Also, Roots to STEM, I might be doing some work with them as well going forward. So there's lots of things that are happening. Keep me busy, keep me out of trouble, and go forward. So we're just about out of time. We got about 6 minutes left. So let's see if you guys have any further questions. I'm always here to answer a question. I will tell you that I'm really enjoying using Polymaker filament. I've not come across a filament that is literally so easy to use. I have found it like almost flawless in the way that it prints. I haven't had to fart around with it. You basically do a temp tower like I always do, and something I recommend that everybody does. Do a temperature tower when you've got a new filament that you've never used before, or a new color from a line that you may have used before. It really goes a long way to helping you understand how that material is going to work in any given machine. So if you're switching that filament to a machine you've never used it on before, do a temperature tower. It's going to save you a lot of time. It only takes about an hour to do a temperature tower, and it's going to give you a lot of great information. Tim Postman says, love you, brother, from another mother. Peace out, buddy. Okay, take care, my friend. Dominic says, I posted a video link for the 100 printer by Matt, the printing nerd, in the Discord. It looks like a cool project. Okay, well, I'm going to go and check that out. Friendship Lights, yes, Ben, subscribe here. Yes. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. It helps a lot. See you just fall in love with Polymaker. Yeah, you do kind of fall in love with it. Can you get the filament on Amazon? Polymaker you can get on Amazon. You can also go to Polymaker Canada and get it directly from Polymaker Canada now. Shooter 59, is there a good place or book to learn about all the settings? No. There's not a good book. Settings are something that are trial and error. You have to really play with your printer, play with your materials, learn as much as you can about them, because every situation, I'm going to tell you, and I know this for a fact, is different. What I can print here perfectly fine may not print for my friend John up in Edmonton. Worth a darn. And he might have to do a bunch of fiddling around to get it to work for him. I've noticed that with other filaments, that filaments that work great here for me may not work for somebody on the East Coast very well, because they have a much more humid environment than we do here. So yeah, there's no real good book for it. The poor boy says, I'm trying my hand again with CFPA6. Wish me luck. Good luck. I started 3D printing in 2013. MakerBot, Brooklyn, New York. I've been to Brooklyn. Love it. Ben says, Polymaker ASA is awesome. I do have some Polymaker ASA I'm going to be trying. Rumor has it Polymaker is going to remove their filaments from Amazon. There is a rumor of that. Have not heard the final yay or nay on it, and hopefully I will. Poor boy says, is it okay to print CFPA6 on a PEI sheet? Yes, it is, but I would put an interference layer in between it, like glue stick. Fusion Lit, good afternoon. Here's the 2.4 printing. How's the 2.4 printing? It's printing great. It's been printing all show. We kind of been chilling and printing. On my Ender 3 V2 Neo, the bed maxes out at 100. Can I raise that? If it maxes out at 100, you can if you can get into the firmware. But probably I would say that it's set to 100 for safety reasons. I know that my bed on this thing will go up to 120, and I've actually gotten to 115 on this bed just to test it out. But what do you need to go over 100 for? That would be the question I would have. HVAC says, I was raised in Brooklyn, left at 27 years old. Wow. I've been to Brooklyn. I like Brooklyn. If I could live anywhere in the US, anywhere, I would probably live somewhere in New York, whether that be Brooklyn, Queens. I I really like Brooklyn because I just like the atmosphere in Brooklyn. I just thought it was very cool. Use some G10 board, okay. All right. So we've reached the end of our time for another week. Wow, that went fast. Whole hour. Where are you guys from now? I am from Canada. I am in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I was born in Ontario, Canada, and grew up in Manitoba, and in a small town in Manitoba. Now I am here in Alberta, which is 3 provinces from where I was born, 2 provinces from where I grew up. So I'm on the west side of the country as opposed to being more central where I was before. Good stream. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. I'm going to say goodbye for today. It is Sunday. I'm going to go spend a little bit of time with my wife. We just finished watching Picard this morning, and I was pleasantly surprised, and it left a bunch of things open. So I'm going to go and have a cup of coffee with her, and maybe a little treat. And or if you guys want to get on Discord, I can get on Discord as well. So until I see you guys next week, next Sunday at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, that will be 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and I will see you right here on the First Layer. Remember that the First Layer is always your foundation to a great 3D print. Take care, guys.